Thanks for joining us for Khari Free at Last on Bounce23 TV. I'm Khari Enaharo. A Lorain County, Ohio probate judge, James Walter, said Aston Taylor couldn't have more children while he's on probation for 5 years. Now, the 9th District Court of Appeals in Ohio upheld the judge's order that a black male can't have more kids until he pays his back child support. Do you support or oppose this ruling? Joining me is TalkTainmentRadio.com host Earth Jallow, Reverend John Coates, and Donella Martin-Braddix. Listen, let me start with you, Earth. This black man has been told that he can't have any more children for 5 years until he pays off his $100,000. Now, he owes $100,000. He got 4 babies, and he's, he says, I've been trying to catch up, but he's falling behind. Judge said, look, Negro man, you can't have no more babies until you pay up your fine. Wait a minute. He is messing with, well, I was going to say another word. He is messing with his right to reproduce.
That is insane, Khari. How can someone tell you that you can't have any more children? That's A. Number 2, I thought that you couldn't be jailed for a debtor's jail. I thought that went out back in the day. Number 3, if he has 4 babies by 4 different women, as they say, then why is he being singled out? Because these women had to know that he had children in previous relationships. This is ridiculous. This is infringing upon his personal civil rights. That's crazy.
Well, wait a minute. The guy didn't pay his debt. He is one of the, one could say, based on the judge's ruling, Donella Martin-Braddix, that he is one of, did I get it right? He is one of those guys that don't want to pay for his children.
Well, the biggest problem is that he's unemployed, first of all.
Yes, that's A.
He's an ex-felon, so he's already put himself in a position where he's already given the government the right to take away his rights that all Americans are supposed to have, such as the right to bear arms and the right to vote. So
what about the right to reproduce?
Well, absolutely. And then here we go again.
Wait a minute. Do you support or oppose that?
I oppose it. I absolutely oppose it, because when the government can step in
and didn't pay his bills, why would you support
It's very frightening, Khari, because it means that if they're doing this, if they're first of all, they're giving the government another excuse to put another black man in jail for a non-violent crime. And that is scary. It should be scary to everybody sitting here and everybody who heard the story.
And you know what, too, Donella and Khari? Why don't they lock up everybody who has arrears in child support? It's not fair to just lock up one. There's millions of people who are behind in child support.
John, most of them seem to be missing the big point here. The big point is that you told the man he couldn't procreate.
We understand.
I think so, but we need to clear up some misconceptions, first of all. In the state of Ohio, if you are a felon, you can vote. You can vote, felon.
Yes.
You can vote.
Yep.
Okay, you have the right to vote within the state of Ohio.
Was that more misinformation?
Yeah. But we're not in Ohio. You can vote.
Right, it's state by state it varies.
$100,000. It's about $25,000 per child.
Right,
he has fallen and he just can't get back up. But the big picture here has to deal with. It has a stinky, funky smell of eugenics.
What is eugenics?
Eugenics is when you systematically destroy destroy a group of people who other groups might not feel like that they can take care of themselves.
Sorry, Reverend Coates. How in God's name do you get eugenics out of a ruling like this? Look, man, the man wasn't paying his child support.
This is how...
And so, wait a minute. Why do you want this dude to bring another baby in the world when he can't take care of the ones he got?
Well, he should take care of the babies that he has, and yes, he should think about what he is doing and should not try to produce children. But for government to step in and to make that decision for him, what are they saying? What type of slippery slope are they creating here?
They're just being responsible. Obviously, he has not been responsible.
No, we can't say that. We can't say that.
Hold on for a minute. All these babies, daddies, what's that? Mamas, maybe, baby, whatever. All these women running around here with multiple daddies, multiple children. Somebody got to stop in and stop this insanity.
And where does this lead to? Does it lead to sterilization?
Right.
What do you mean? How? How does that lead to sterilization? He didn't sterilize the guy.
How can they make him
Well, they're going to put him in jail.
How can they prevent him from producing babies?
And
the way this is headed, see, it's not just that a lone judge made a decision. The danger in this ruling is that the Ninth District Circuit Court upheld it.
Yes.
It was upheld, and we know that laws are made in this country also through legal precedents by court rulings. So when someone else in another county in Ohio wants to make the same ruling, he will argue the ruling of this judge in Lorraine. He will argue the ruling of the Ninth Circuit Court.
Now, you
as
talked
well.
about a slippery slope. What slippery slope? Did I get that out right?
Yes.
What slippery slope?
It's a tongue twister.
Yeah, it is. What slippery slope are you talking about?
It's the slippery slope that leads to eugenics. Eugenics can prevent birth populations from growing as well.
Stay right there. Incarceration for procreation? Up next on Khari, Free at Last. Welcome back to Khari, Free at Last. If this Ohio judge ruling is allowed to stand, what are the implications for African Americans? Will it come down to incarceration for procreation? Is this ruling part of a plan to reduce the African American population both here and abroad? Joining me is TalkNameandRadio.com host Earth Jallow, Reverend John Coates, and Donella Martin-Braddix. Reverend Coates, is this part of a secret plan? You mentioned something called eugenics. Now, if this law is allowed to stand, it's already been upheld by the Ohio, the Ninth Circuit Court in Ohio. And so if it goes all the way to Supreme Court and it's allowed to stand, what are the chilling implications of this?
The chilling implications are that it just doesn't have impact upon black men, but it has impact upon black women.
Absolutely.
And not just black people, anyone that the courts may deem to be unworthy, unsuitable, people that don't meet a criteria to even produce
This
children.
sounds like the Negro Project.
Oh, most certainly.
Wait a minute. Is this Margaret Sanger all over again?
Most certainly. This isn't the first time this dance has taken place. It was attempted back in the 1920s, and it was implemented in the 20s as well. That's how we had birth control introduced into our community. In fact, Jesse Jackson, and you remind me of Jesse Jackson today. Incarceration for procreation. That's pretty good. That's almost like upward hope and downward dope.
Right. Very catchy.
But that's how Jesse Jackson once said that birth control is a form of genocide.
Yeah.
So that's what we're...
Is it?
Yes, it is.
Is
But
it?
you know,
I don't agree with that.
It is.
I don't
Wait a
agree
minute,
with
Now,
that.
how come you don't believe birth
I
control
don't
is a
think
form of
that birth
genocide?
control is a form of genocide at all. As a matter of fact, I believe in quality over quantity. I don't think that just because you can have a baby that you should have a baby. That's another discussion.
You know, Hitler believed in quality over quantity as well. That's why he said that he wanted babies with blonde hair and with blue eyes that they viewed as quality.
Is this. I understand your argument for eugenics, and I agree with you. The implications are scary for all of us,
But
and
I'm
we need to think about what's going on.
Wait a minute. You said you disagree with it.
I disagree because we have a lot of issues in the black community, and lack of a proper usage of birth control is one of them. Why do we have so many teen girls who are not prepared to be parents, having children? We need to address that, and we don't need the government to do it. We need
And
to
those
address it.
issues need to be addressed, but you just said not for the government to do it. And what this argument is about government, the court system, putting court orders out that may prevent birth.
This argument is about you saying that birth control is a form of eugenics.
I believe that.
Okay, that's what this argument is about, and I disagree.
But birth control being implemented...
Oh, wait a minute. She's disagreeing that birth control, but wait a minute. That means that she supports Planned Parenthood. That means she supports Margaret Sanger.
That means she supports
the Negro Project.
Yes, she does.
She supports
and
birth.
She
also supports the judge's ruling.
No, Khari, don't put words in my mouth.
But you're speaking in
Don't
contradictions.
put words in my mouth.
You're speaking
no,
in
no,
contradictions.
I do support birth control. I do not support this judge's ruling. Okay, let's make that clear.
You know,
let's make that clear.
In your native land of New York, you know that song says, "I'm a native New Yorker." You know that place.
Yeah. That was 1978.
Yes, it was. I'm dating myself. In New York's black population has gone beyond a zero population birth rate. That means that one person dies for one person that's born.
That's a result of birth control.
But it has gone to -4.
Because of abortion and birth control.
Abortion and birth control.
million
But what we
she
do
says
know
the
is
birth
that
control-
we're not the largest minority in this country anymore because we're not having babies.
But the
We're
answer
not the
is-
minority anyway.
Earth Jallow, do you support birth control?
You know, I think that you should practice. If you're not ready to have a baby, then you shouldn't just be pumping out children. Absolutely, figure it out.
Do you support birth control?
Yes, I do.
Or no?
Yes, I do. You should. Yes,
John,
absolutely.
they both support genocide.
Absolutely.
I'm sure because people because
We
they
should high-five that, Earth.
Yeah, they crazy.
because people want to use birth control as an excuse to cover up for their behavior.
No,
That
we
makes
use
no
birth
sense,
control because I'm
Pastor.
going to be a responsible parent when I decide to have me a child.
Absolutely.
If I might be in a long-term relationship,
the one that
hold
does
on,
it,
that may not
Reverend,
work out.
the
Hold
one that
on.
does it squeals the loudest.
That may not work out. Why would I be having babies, just having children? Because I might have gotten married. I might want to be married for 5 years before I have children to make sure that my husband ain't crazy. Keep it together, y'all. That's what's the problem with us. We don't get to know people. It takes time to get to know
So what's
your
your-
partner.
so what's your-
hold on
Therefore,
for a
you
minute.
need to wait a minute.
Wait a minute, Reverend, hold on
And
for a
stop
minute.
popping out all these
Oh,
daggone
Shelley McCundy.
and then,
I so agree.
as
Thank
far
you.
as, far as
Thank
the
you.
judge's ruling goes, I'm thinking this is terrible because is they gonna look at your credit score and say you don't have a high enough credit score to have
Well,
children?
Exactly.
Are they gonna look at your
And they're already
your
doing that
job
with employment.
and say that you don't make enough? You need to make $50,000 and above before you can make some children.
Mrs. Orwell,
So come on
Mrs.
now.
Orwell, Mrs. Orwell.
I am not.
love
I am
Mrs.
Mrs. Jallow.
Mrs. Orwell,
Yes.
who
Mrs.
specializes in Orwellian speech. I understand your double talk, okay?
Oh, double talk
but I'm
now.
just curious, what's your birth control of choice? Is it Norplan?
No,
is
I don't believe in getting anything implanted
Is it abortion?
in you.
Is it abortion?
I don't believe that.
Wait a minute now.
If you were responsible, you wouldn't be at the abortion clinic.
Okay, yes.
Unless,
And-
of course,
Yeah.
you have been sexually violated, then you have.
Okay, let me
you
let
know,
Donella, who's
come on
itching to
now.
get in here. Get
Yeah,
in here.
and the thing about it is this argument is not about birth control. This argument is about the government's right to infringe upon a person's right to procreate.
Absolutely.
You are putting in your personal values
That's
about
right.
birth control
Get it.
because you are a pastor and you are pro-life and you are against, I don't know why you're against birth control, first of all. That doesn't even make any sense to me. Why should people have babies and then not ready to have children?
I didn't take a
John,
position.
Are you also against premarital sex?
I did not.
Are you against premarital
I did
sex?
not make a statement.
Wait a minute, Reverend. Are you against premarital sex?
Are you against
Oh, yes.
because that's what it says. Okay,
Yes, I
so
am.
the thing about it is, so then your
Don't
argument.
do it. Don't do it.
Are you against premarital sex,
Yes.
Pastor? You are?
Yes, I am.
With consenting adults?
With consenting adults.
So nobody should have sex, according to you,
They
unless
should.
they're
They
married.
should get married.
They shouldn't
They
have
should
sex.
get married.
So fornication is what you're saying. It's against.
As for fornication and adultery are wrong.
Yeah, but they're not illegal.
No, they're not.
They're not illegal.
And abortion
so
isn't
how are
illegal.
they wrong?
Abortion isn't illegal and birth
Okay,
control
but
isn't illegal.
okay, but the thing about it is you're talking about, you're saying people should not have sex unless they're married. And you're also saying that if people are married, they don't have the right to choose how many children they bring into this world.
I didn't say
which
that.
I think is a
I
very
did not say that. I
antiquated
did not say
idea.
that.
And
I'm
I think
not
it infringes
Chinese.
upon people's
That's an
personal
Asian,
rights.
That's an Asian philosophy. I'm not Chinese.
You know she
okay?
just called you antiquated.
I know,
Did you know that?
I know she just
Do you
said.
know that
because-
Mr. Bowtie?
But you know, the new mindset, obviously the progressive mindset is a mindset that is reducing our population.
Okay, you're against reducing the population, but what about bringing children into this world who are loved and healthy and ready to be a productive citizen?
And the pro-life community are the greatest advocates for adoption and foster.
But we have
please.
more children waiting to
That's
be
a fact.
adopted
Right.
than
That's a
any
fact.
other.
Any other
Are you
group.
serious?
Exactly.
And they do more work to cut the budgets
Thank
and not
you.
fund programs that keep children and communities healthy.
And that's
Stay
why
right
John
there.
Coates is here.
Look at here. Let me tell y'all something. Read my lips. No more sex. Up next on Khari, Free at Last. Welcome back to Khari, Free at Last. Is it time for irresponsible African-American males who have multiple children with multiple females to be sterilized or prohibited from having sex? Whoo, I had to get that out. Welcome back to Khari, Free at Last. Joining me is TalkTainRadio.com host, Earth Jallow, the Reverend John Coates, and Donella Martin-Braddix. Now, Reverend, Donella asked you, was you opposed to premarital sex, and you ran past that like a rabbit.
No, I
But
answered
you
it
did.
twice.
Yeah.
I answered it twice. And I answered it 3 times.
Now, I'm going to ask you this. Now, should these irresponsible brothers who go all over the place, putting notches on the thing, having baby after baby after baby, don't take care of them? Come on, isn't it time we say, look, enough is enough. If you do it again, you're going to be sterilized. What's wrong with that?
Well, it's time that we do say something, but it's not time for the government to either threaten sterilizations and create a percentage of eunuchs
You
in
got
our
15
community.
babies by 15 different women. Good God Almighty, man.
It's 15 different consenting women.
Wait a minute, but you can't take care of none of these babies. You're a serial breeder.
It takes two.
Wait a minute, hold on for a minute. Y'all see that word I use?
Serial breeder.
I heard it like that.
Which is a crime.
A serial breeder is a crime?
No, it's not. Anyway, you're a serial breeder. What do you say?
I say that if you got 15 children with 15
You still gonna blame the woman?
You darn straight.
Why?
Because she should have gotten to know that he had 15 children with 15 different women, and you shouldn't have been the 16th.
Oh!
Get yourself together.
Wait a
You knew he didn't have a job when you took him to bed. Don't be mad and try to take him to child support when he can't pay for the kid. Let me tell y'all something right here. Time spent is so much better than money spent. Let him spend that time making memories with his children and quit holding them children hostage away from them fathers.
Donella Martin-Braddix. Now, shouldn't we just lock this cat up? All right, let's say we don't sterilize. Why not just incarcerate him? Put him away, because all he's gonna do is serial breed everywhere he goes. He don't take care of none of his babies. What do we do?
The thing that worries me is that when do you draw the line and decide that this person is committing a crime? He's only had 4 children by 4 different women. Yes, it is heinous.
I'm not just talking about him. I'm talking about people who are much more...
Exactly.
Wait, but watch this word. Egregious.
Exactly. So
you're on a roll today.
What's the cutoff? How many children by how many women do you have to have before it's labeled a criminal offense? And then what about the women? Black women have a high percentage of having multiple children by multiple men. Does that become a crime? Do we start putting these people in jail?
Maybe it's time to make it a crime. Maybe we need to change the statutes, Reverend Coates, and say, look, maybe we're going to China, but anyway, maybe we say no more than 5 children, no more children unless you can take care of them economically.
Maybe it's time we start raising our children differently, and they stop emulating what they see their parents do. They see their parents, multiple generations of children with the same last names, because no parent ever was married. We need to get married. We don't get married in our community. We need to have...
Why don't we just say no more sex?
Well, that's because it's unrealistic.
Whoa. Just like this judge is basically telling Brother Taylor, no more sex. Because every time you lay down, you could get somebody, you can get somebody. So he's saying no more sex. Why not say to the young brothers in our community who are running around going crazy, no more sex? Time out.
Yes,
moratorium.
that's what I want to know. Why can't the church push an agenda of abstinence?
Because the preachers ain't abstinent.
The church
Wait a minute, hold on for a minute. The preachers ain't abstinent. That's the problem.
Now you know.
The people that it needs to reach, they're not in the church. So how do you get the information to?
No, they're in the church. Wait. They're in the church. They're in the church. The church is made up of single mothers. Okay, that's never been married.
From what I see, they're not the ones that's coming in with 6, 7, 8 children either.
Yes, they are.
Excuse me. I didn't think you went to church. So you see through the walls. You know.
Nobody paid you to fit.
Oh, well, I know you don't go there. How about that?
I dress every now and again.
She drives by.
To see the parking lot, right?
But the point is just the church is filled. You know, when we think of the church, typically we think of pious individuals who haven't been affected by society's ills. You know, they're all married, their children are legitimate. But that is not true. The church is filled with a lot of people, men and women who are victims of that serial breeding phenomenon. And my question is, once again, I'm wondering, black churches, why are we so afraid to push abstinence?
Oh, good question,
The church is an institution of sinners who are saved by grace, not pious people. I mean, good golly, Miss Molly, what are you thinking about?
That's the stereotype.
That's your stereotype.
I'm actually agreeing with
But
you.
she asked you a
I'm
question,
agreeing
Reverend.
with you.
Again, you run like
Good
a rabbit.
Lord,
Why don't you push abstinence
The
from
church
the pulpit?
does push abstinence from the pulpit. Yes.
think they
What,
do.
like-
Yes,
Gay
the church
marriage,
does.
Like
Yeah.
Reverend
To
Eddie Long? Like Reverend Eddie Long?
Eddie
Was he
Long,
pushing-
Eddie
was he
Long
pushing
teaches,
abstinence?
he has pushed abstinence. The
he
problem
wasn't
is that he's accused of not being abstinent. But yes, he does teach abstinence. He was one of the strongest teachers in America for abstinence.
Well, like I
so go to church and listen to what the preachers are preaching.
Well, then my question is, why are especially the young women who are attending church, 30 and under, and a lot of them have been born and raised in the church, why are they not escaping the phenomenon of teen pregnancy and illegitimate birth? What's
Big
going
time.
on?
They have some of the highest
Because we
rates.
need to do more than preach.
Yes.
We need to practice.
You need to show and prove.
We need to practice
And
certain
then
things.
change your morals and values.
You who are not in church, like yourself.
I used to go to church.
Yeah, we're in 1920. But anyway, I'm saying to you, why not in the community call out and say no more sex?
Because it's unrealistic. People are you cannot control other people. What we need to change
You don't want to do it.
No.
Just say you don't want to do it.
No, that's not true.
Donella,
what we
say
need
no
to
more
change is
sex.
our morals
Well,
and values.
Donella, do you agree no more sex?
I think it's highly possible to say no more sex.
Yes,
we
it is.
actually say no more drugs. They've done studies and it's been shown
don't
that
say
white
that's unrealistic.
teenagers do more drugs than black teenagers. So why can't we have the same thing for sex? It's
Because
possible.
they talking about the war against drugs and just say no to drugs and it ain't and the just say no ain't work. That
Reverend,
campaign has
say
not
it.
worked.
No more sex, Reverend.
No more sex.
Look in that camera and tell them.
No more. No more. Is that what you said? No more.
Ain't no more.
Hold on for a minute. Their silence speaks so loud. Up next on Khari, Free at Last. Welcome back to Khari, Free at Last. Why are so many women's groups so silent on this issue? They scream loud when their reproduction rights are challenged, yet remain closed-mouthed when the court imposes restrictions on the reproductive rights of black males. Joining me is TalkTainmentRadio.com host Irv Jallow, the Reverend John Coates, and Donella Martin-Braddix. The women's groups, all the feminists, they be banging their tamarines and marching up and down the street, women's productive rights. And they got Alice Walker out there, they got all these other Negro feminists, and they got all of them screaming loud. But yet this ruling is over a year old, and they ain't said a word.
Because the agenda of feminism was about feminism for white women.
Whoa.
And they have some Negro supporters, but it was about an agenda for white women only.
So they don't care about black males' reproductive rights.
Certainly not. In fact, they
Or
would like
black
to.
females.
They would like to see a generation of eunuchs made.
Oh, why would you say that, Reverend?
Because that's what their actions have been. That's what they have advocated.
So feminists believe that you've been said that I've heard that you might have some beliefs that are closely aligned with feminism.
That's true.
Did you hear what he just said? He said that feminism wants black eunuchs. Is that true?
Well, the thing about it is I do agree with Pastor Coates in that the feminist movement was largely a white movement. So I don't really think it has a place in this ruling right here.
Well, why aren't they screaming loud? It's a reproductive right issue. Why are they so silent?
Well, the thing about it, they don't care. As a matter of fact, black women who really, we need to be the ones who need to step up and say, hey, this is not right.
Well, some black women are saying he ought not be able to reproduce.
But,
so they go along with it.
Which is really scary. I keep saying it's scary because the thing about it is, first now you're going to justify locking up a black man for making another baby. When is it going to be where you're going to start locking up black women for making children? Now, personally, I do think, that we need to stop this nonsense. You need to procreate within a marriage, and you need to be within a solid marriage, and it needs to be a healthy nuclear family.
Also, no sex until you're married. You asked him. Wait a minute. You asked him. Hold on for a minute. You asked him that question. I'm gonna ask you. Do you believe in premarital sex?
Yes, I do. I believe that premarital sex is the right of an individual. Yes, I do.
So you support it and you oppose it. Is that right? Yes. Okay, Irv, what about your position?
What about me?
I ain't going there
two
anyway.
consenting adults have the right to do whatever they like.
But why are women's groups so silent on this?
I think because, like they said, feminist groups don't care. A lot of those are same-gender lovers. And so, of course, they don't have a stake in
So they're anti-men anyway.
Absolutely.
And
so why should they take up for you?
So they're anti-black men?
Absolutely.
What?
Yeah, absolutely. Why should they take up for you? You're going to take the next female.
You mean to
that they
tell
can
me
have
the National
possibly date.
Organization of Women is anti-black males?
You
Is
ain't
that
heard,
what you
you
telling
ain't
me?
heard nobody say nothing about it, have you?
But I'm asking you, are you saying they're
yes,
anti-black?
I am.
Based on
yes,
what?
Based on their past history. Where have they ever stepped up to help a black man in any reproductive rights or issues? Where have they stepped up to actually help the black woman? Like John said, that movement wasn't about us. It was about feminist rights for white women.
The National Organization, the National Organization for Women might as well be the Daughters of the Confederacy, as far as we're concerned.
Because black women, we never had to burn our bras for the right to work in this country. We've been working since we got here.
Since you've been slaves.
It's not a black woman's agenda.
No, it's not.
And so,
we jumped on it and got messed up.
Alice
we messed
Walker
up right
and people
now.
like that jumped into
But
it.
yeah, and now we messed up.
And y'all up into them when they come to town.
Yeah, we know how Alice Walker and the type, how they depict black men, too.
Right. And how do they depict them?
Like the character Mr. Black men don't have any responsibility at all. They bear no reason. They're not responsible.
I am just shocked by all this pressure they put on President Obama about reproductive rights, yet they won't stand up and protest this decision.
Yeah, and they put pressure on President Obama to constantly lecture black men from his position.
But they're totally silent. Their silence says a lot, doesn't it?
Yeah, what we really need to have in our community, Khari, is we need to have a marriage and relationship convention.
And that's coming. Yep. We are going to have a marriage and relationship convention. Thanks to TalkTainmentRadio.com hosts Irv Jallow, John Coates, and Donella Martin-Braddix. And thank you for watching Khari Free at Last on Bounce23 TV.